From Ragged to Riches, the shocking transformational dance with a billionaire at midnight. In the heart of a small town, where streetlights flickered like dimming stars, something extraordinary was about to unfold. Every year, at the stroke of midnight, the hidden ballroom in the old Anderson mansion came alive. It was said that on this night, magic soaked the air, and fortunes flipped like a coin tossed with reckless abandon. Whispers filled the streets. The very rich became the very poor, and the forgotten rose to dizzying heights. If you were out late enough, you'd see the lights. They swirled and pulsed like a tempest, inviting brave souls to discover their destinies in this dance of fate. Jessica stood at the edge of the glow, her heart thundering in her chest. She was just another face in the crowd, but there was something in her gaze, something fierce and desperate. She'd heard the stories of a mysterious billionaire who transformed lives with a single step on the dance floor. This wasn't just a party. This was a life-altering event. The air shimmered with uncertainty and hope, a potion ready to change everything. As she edged closer, the scent of polished wood and expensive perfume filled her lungs, creating an intoxicating blend that made her head spin. A sudden hush fell over the crowd. All eyes turned to the massive oak doors. They swung open, and in strode the billionaire, tall, confident, draped in an aura of untold stories and lavish secrets. He was a figure stitched from midnight shadows and moonlight, captivating and terrifying all at once. The collective gasp could have shattered glass. Jessica's breath hitched. What would happen if she took his hand? Would she be swallowed whole or whisked away to a new life? The moment hung heavy in the air, thick with anticipation. As the music swelled, he locked eyes with Jessica, holding a gaze that could unearth dreams buried long ago. Heart racing, she felt a pull, an electrifying connection that jolted through her very core. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Jessica's heart danced to a chaotic rhythm, uncertainty mixing with exhilaration. Should she make her move? There was a chance, just a chance, that this could be her night, her transformation. But would the price be too high? What were the secrets lurking behind the glamour? As Jessica took a tentative step forward, the welcomed warmth of hope ignited her spirit. The ballroom, alive with swirling colors and passionate whispers, swallowed her whole. The billionaire's smile promised more than just a dance. It hinted at secrets, at treasures hidden in the shadows. Her mind raced as she closed the gap, every beat of her heart echoing like a ticking clock. With one deep breath, she reached for his hand. And in that fateful moment, the entire world around them shifted. The lights dimmed, the music faltered, and an unseen force tightened its grip around her heart. What lay ahead, as their fingers brushed a dance into fortune or a plunge into darkness? The moment their fingers connected, a jolt of electricity coursed between Jessica and the billionaire, igniting a firestorm of emotions that spiraled inside her chest. Everything inside her went still, almost as if time had folded in on itself. The music swelled again, vibrant and alive, but it now carried a darker undertone, a whisper of danger hidden beneath its seductive melody. In that brief instant, fear pricked at Jessica's resolve. Was she ready to plunge headfirst into this world of wealth and power, or was it all built upon a treacherous foundation? The billionaire leaned closer, his breath warm against her ear, as he murmured words that sent shivers racing down her spine. Don't be afraid, Jessica. Embrace the dance, and it will embrace you back. The assertion hung heavy in the air. Jessica hardly had time to respond. her body moving on instinct more than thought. She found herself drawn into the center of the ballroom, where an extravagant chandelier cast a rain of crystals that sparkled like diamonds. Couples twirled around them, their laughter ringing like chimes, but Jessica felt detached, suspended in a dream that felt all too real. As they began to sway together, the billionaire's hand found the small of her back, steadying her. For a fleeting moment, everything melted away, the doubts, fears, and the worries that hung over her like a storm cloud. She surrendered, allowing the rhythm to lead her, to propel her into the colossal depths of a reality she had only ever fantasized about. But beneath the surface of bliss, something was amiss. An unsettling undercurrent of whispers buzzed around her. Jessica caught snippets of conversations, words like cursed, lost, and the price. Each term sliced through the romantic haze, as she desperately danced to maintain her blissful ignorance. The grand illusion wrapped itself around her tightly, every turn in the dance demanding more from her than just steps. The soul, the heart, the very essence of who she was. "Who are you?" she finally managed to ask, breaking the intoxicating silence that had enveloped them. The power in his presence made her voice tremble, but she couldn't hold back the question. She needed clarity. His eyes flickered, shadows dancing across his face. "Someone who offers choices and consequences," he replied cryptically, the edge of his smile revealing something darker beneath. "You shouldn't take this lightly, Jessica." As the music surged, drawing them to its wild climax, Jessica felt her heart race in sync with the beat. She caught the glances of other partygoers, and behind their glittering masks, she detected longing and fear, desperation laced through their smiles. It was then she realized this was not merely an extravagant dance. It was a gamble, with fate shrouded in silk and allure, but dangerously exposed beneath it all. In that moment, a sudden realization jolted her. What if this was a trap rather than a dream? What would it cost her to play this game? Her mind raced as the oracle-like gaze of the billionaire held her captive. Every facet of her being screamed out to run, yet the allure of the possibility was intoxicating. The other dancers twirled faster, their laughter morphing into wild crescendos. With each move, Jessica could feel the stakes escalating. With the music building to an exhilarating climax, she knew she had to decide: would she continue to dance through this web of enchantment, or would she break free before it ensnared her completely? As the tune reached a fever pitch, she felt the floor beneath her shudder like a heartbeat. The chandelier swung ominously above, casting shifting shadows that seemed to whisper secrets of past transformations. And then it happened, a sudden shift in the atmosphere, a silent plea that echoed louder than the music. Jessica caught a glimpse of another pair of eyes, filled with anguish and desperation, rising above the other dancers. Just then, the floor cracked beneath them, and she understood deep in her bones something was about to break. What would happen if the allure faded, revealing the darker secrets lurking in the shadows? Could Jessica escape this perilous dance intact, or was she fated to join the ranks of those forgotten? The floor splintered with a deafening crack, and Jessica felt her heart lurch in her chest. Panic skated through her limbs as the laughter around her dulled, morphing into gasps and startled screams. Was this the cost of the dance? The floor beneath her feet felt alive, as if warning her of the impending collapse. The billionaire's grip tightened, anchoring her to a world that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. His face, usually composed and mysterious, betrayed a hint of urgency. "Stay with me," he urged, his voice low but firm. "Just trust me." Every instinct in her screamed to flee, yet the intensity of his gaze held her captive. The dancers around them broke apart, chaos unfolding like a poorly arranged puzzle. People scrambled, their masks slipping away to reveal shock, fear, and desperation etched into their faces. "Run, Jessica!" a voice cried, slicing through the cacophony. Jessica's eyes darted toward the source, and found a woman near the edge of the crowd, her features twisted in horror. In that moment, amidst the sea of high society glamour, anguish resonated like a siren call. Jessica could only assume this was another lost soul, ensnared and desperate for escape. But the billionaire didn't budge, anchoring her to what felt like a sinking ship, even as despair mingled with the desperation of escape. The whole ballroom trembled again, and a low rumble of thunder rolled above, as if the sky itself echoed the chaos below. "Jessica, listen to me," he said, lowering his voice to a whisper, each word weighing heavy like stones. "The dance won't end until someone strikes a bargain. You have to choose." "Choose what?" she shouted, pushing panic into every syllable. "Your freedom, your fate." His words hung in the air, suspended in horror and confusion. She glanced around the splintering floor, the frightened dancers starting to trip and fall, the pulsing beat of music that now sounded like a death knell. It was all connected, and with each fleeting breath, the weight of his proposition crushed her. Did that mean there were others like her? Dancers trapped in this social masquerade, sold pieces of their souls for a moment of glamour? The realization sent icy fingers down her spine. Was she already teetering on the edge of that bargain? "Take my hand, and I'll show you," he insisted, his eyes pleading. But Jessica hesitated, anger mingling with fear. This was no ordinary night. This was a game played behind closed doors, and everything about the billionaire screamed danger. She felt the ground quivering beneath them again, as cracks spread like veins, a mirror of her own turmoil. If she took his hand, what part of herself would she be surrendering? Was the dance truly an embrace, or was it a clever trap, masked by the glimmer and grandeur of wealth? Just then, a flash of movement caught her eye. The woman from earlier was desperately reaching toward her, panic-stricken eyes wide. "Jessica, you have to get out. Now!" A loud crash resonated through the ballroom, inches away from where they stood. She turned back to the billionaire, torn between loyalty and survival. "Jessica!" His voice was insistent, booming amidst the chaos. "You can't waste this moment. Choose me." But what awaited her if she did? The floor shattered open like a gaping maw, sending shockwaves that reverberated through the crowd. In those final seconds, the choice loomed larger than life. Before she could respond, the chandelier above them teetered ominously, and in the confusion, Jessica felt herself slip, arms flailing. The world twisted upside down, and she caught one last glimpse of the billionaire's face, a mixture of fear and determination, before everything plunged into darkness. What would happen if she fell through the cracks? Would there be a way back? Or would she be lost forever in the dance? Jessica felt weightless, the darkness enveloping her like an embrace. Time twisted around her, seconds stretching into an eternity. She was falling, tumbling into an abyss that threatened to engulf her entirely. The fractured floor, moments before alive with light and chaos, was now a fading memory. As she descended, a cacophony of voices whispered hauntingly, echoing the shouts and screams that had filled the ballroom. The faces of the dancers merged into a blur, their fears blending with her own. Images flashed before her, fragments of lives traded for fleeting moments of delight, masks hiding the truth of their desires. And just when she thought she would drown in the shadows, she landed. Thud. The impact jarred her senses. Jessica pushed herself up to find she was not alone. The ground beneath her was solid, an unmarred black-tiled floor that contrasted starkly with the vibrant chaos she'd just escaped. She was in a different room, its atmosphere almost suffocating in its stillness. Where am I?" she breathed, her voice trembling as she scanned the dimly lit chamber. Dark curtains hung heavy against the walls, and a lone flickering candle illuminated a grand table adorned with countless intricate trinkets, each glistening under the wavering light. Here, there were no screams, no panic, just silence. "Welcome to the negotiation," a voice echoed, deep and resonant, sending a chill up her spine. She whipped around to find a man stepping out from the shadows, wearing a mask even more elaborate than her own. It was adorned with sharp angles and glimmering details, exuding a menacing elegance. "Who are you?" Jessica demanded, trying to sound braver than she felt. "The one who facilitates the deals, sweet Jessica," he replied, a smirk playing on his lips. "In this world, choices come at a cost. And it seems you are in quite the predicament." Her heart danced erratically in her chest. "What do you mean? I just fell through the floor." "I was dancing, and now you must decide what you are truly willing to sacrifice for freedom," he interrupted, stepping closer, his eyes twinkling with twisted delight. "Your fate is entwined with a dance that doesn't he just ended transforms. Will you bargain with a piece of yourself?" She glanced around the room, trying to make sense of it all. This felt worse than the chaos above. This felt like a trap, a reminder of how easily one could lose everything. "Every deal made here requires something precious," the man continued, his tone dripping with insinuation. "Something you hold dear. Would it be your memory? A relationship? Or perhaps a dream unfulfilled?" Jessica swallowed hard, the words tightening around her throat. "I'm not bargaining anything," she asserted, anger flaring up in her chest. "Ah, but can you afford not to?" He leaned forward, a glimmer of excitement dancing in his eyes. "You don't know what you will lose if you remain unaware. The dance will come to an end, and if you're still here, what will become of you then?" She felt her resolve shatter against the looming threat of the unknown. The tension hung heavy in the air, each second stretching out, as if intrinsic time was mocking her. "Choose wisely," he warned, stepping back into the shadows. "The clock is ticking. You might want to catch the rhythm before it's too late." As he disappeared, silence returned. Jessica's heart raced, and her mind spun with the weight of possibility. What did she truly value? What was she willing to give away to escape this twisted dance? The room shimmered, an invitation and a warning all at once. But a sudden tremor shook the ground, the echoes of the ballroom creeping back. Was the dance still alive, threatening to reclaim her? Now, the stakes had risen. She wasn't just a dancer anymore. She was a pawn in a game she didn't fully understand, but time was running out. As the shadows deepened, a question loomed larger than the rest. Was she willing to dance with the devil, to face the darkness within herself, for a chance at freedom? The candle flickered again, casting shadows that danced eerily around Jessica. She stood in the paralyzing stillness of the room, her heart pounding like a drum, echoing the urgency of the moment. What could she possibly give up? What did she have left that mattered? Nothing seemed significant enough to risk, yet everything felt impossibly heavy. A sudden thud from behind her broke the silence, and she whirled around. Her breath caught as she spotted an ornate door slightly ajar, whispering secrets from the other side. Hesitant but propelled by an urge for clarity, she crept toward it. The idea of the ballroom resurfaced in her mind, the lively energy, the twinkling lights, the sweet oblivion of the dance. But what price had she paid to be there? With a swift motion, she pushed the door open and slipped through. She was met with a narrow corridor illuminated by flickering sconces lining the walls. With each step, the hallway seemed to stretch longer, as if testing her resolve. As she moved forward, the whispers returned, swelling around her like a tempest. The voices twisted and turned, weaving in and out of her mind. Sacrifice, choice, freedom, they taunted her, making it hard to breathe. What was freedom worth? Suddenly, the corridor opened into another vast room, this one a grotesque den of opulence, draped in luxurious fabric and bedecked with sparkling chandeliers that swung slightly, suggesting unseen movements. In the center stood a massive round table piled high with all manner of treasures, gemstones, gold coins, ancient artifacts, each one promising untold power. But in the dim light, she could also see shadows lurking near the edges, darting away as she caught sight of them, leaving her with the feeling of eyes watching her every move. They were there, waiting in the periphery of the lavishness, reminding her of the risk that lay in greed. A figure emerged from the shadows, another masked attendee, their features obscured save for glaring eyes that bore into Jessica's soul. "You've come to bargain," they spoke, their voice smooth, almost tongue-twisting. "I don't have anything to offer," Jessica replied defiantly, trying to mask her unease. "Ah, but you do," the figure insisted, stepping closer, the air heavy with their presence. "Everyone does. What about that fiery spirit of yours? Your will to survive?" Jessica staggered back, the words wrapping around her like a vice. "Why should I give anything away?" "Because the dance is relentless," they declared, their voice sharp and piercing. "Staying here means facing the music of your past. Your fears wouldn't you rather bargain for a glimpse of the future?" She wavered, grappling with the prospect. Wasn't that what her very essence hungered for? A future? A moment where the weight of her choices wouldn't haunt her? Before she could respond, a loud crash erupted from the other end of the room, pulling her attention away. A panel of the wall swung open, revealing a swirling vortex of shadows and light. It shimmered like the dance floor above, but twisted and pulsated with chaotic energy, as if beckoning her to take a step inside. "Jessica, time is ticking," the figure urged, their tone more insistent. "Your choice could unlock wonders, or it could lead you deeper into despair." She trembled, caught between the threat behind her and the unknown ahead. The shadows writhed and whispered, promising power and freedom, while the dance and distractions drifted away. Could she truly handle whatever lay within that vortex? Would it lead to a destiny or doom? Jessica inhaled sharply. With every heartbeat, the decision weighed heavier. She stepped closer to the swirling vortex, glancing back at the figure, desperation etched across her face. "Make your choice," they shouted, their voice echoing off the lavish walls. The tension swelled around her, insistent and sharp. She could feel her heart racing, the pounding thudding in her ears drowning out everything else. What choice would she make as the boundary between safety and risk blurred? The moment of decision loomed, and the shadows surged toward her, hungry for her answer. Would she leap into the abyss, or remain shackled by fear? Jessica's heart raced as she hovered on the brink of a choice that could change everything. What awaited her when she danced into the unknown? Jessica felt herself teetering on the edge of the unknown, the swirling vortex pulsating with energy that felt alive. The rhythmic thrumming in her chest matched the chaos around her. In this moment, everything felt amplified: the dimness of the room, the looming figure, the swirling shadows that teased her senses. All of it piled on her like bricks, stifling her breath. "Your past is a weight you carry," the masked figure said, their voice slicing through her chaos like a knife. "What a little sacrifice when the alternative is stagnation? If you do nothing, you become nothing." The sharpness of their words stung. What kind of sacrifice could truly set her free? Memories of her struggles flashed in her mind, each painful moment vying for attention, a reminder of everything she wanted to escape. But could she really stoke the flames of change at such a steep cost? The shadows shifted again, reaching toward her, whispering promises that twisted and turned like serpents. Power, wealth, freedom, they danced tantalizingly in front of her, yet each promise dragged those memories closer, threatening to pull her under. "I'm not afraid of my past," she shot back, anger sparking a flame of courage within her. "But I refuse to pay for something that should be mine to take." Another crash echoed from within the vortex, more intense this time. The walls of reality felt like they were crumbling, imploding on their foundations. In that moment of crisis, Jessica caught a glimpse of an illuminated figure swirling within the maelstrom. It was her, but not as she was now. Clothed in elegance, eyes shining with fierce determination, she looked unbreakable. It ignited something deep inside her, a sensation she hadn't felt in ages. Hope. Could she chase that version of herself? Before she could overthink, she took a step forward, feeling the energy beckoning her to step into that swirling chaos. It was more than just a choice, it was a chance to reclaim her power, to rise from the ashes of her past. "Choose wisely," the masked figure said, their voice laced with something dangerously compelling. "Leap into the abyss, and you may find not just power, but the very essence of who you are." In the blink of an eye, as the shadows writhed hungrily around her ankles, Jessica could see the potential of that leap, her life unchained, a dance unrestricted by past failures. But right behind the promise, dread wormed its way into her gut. The cost: what if she lost everything more precious than she realized? Do it! A voice yelled from the edges of her consciousness. Was it her own? Face the music. The vortex crackled in response, energy sparking dangerously. It felt as though 100 hands were urging her forward, urging her to embrace the chaos. Gritting her teeth, Jessica balled her hands into fists as she stepped back, fighting against the fear clawing at her. "Fine. I will," she shouted, a roar filled with defiance and desperation. With a sudden rush, she plunged forward, surrendering herself to the swirling vortex. Heat engulfed her, colors blending into a blinding white as if the heavens were tearing apart. She was weightless, caught in a whirlwind of energy and sensation. Time seemed suspended. Was she dancing? A part of her surged with exhilaration even amid the dread. What did this mean? But as the bright light began to dim, a chilling whisper floated through the air. "Welcome, Jessica. Remember, every leap demands a price." Suddenly, pain shot through her like a lightning bolt, an agony she hadn't expected. The shadows were back, tighter now, wrapping around her like chains, holding her captive in a cacophony of voices filled with fury and laughter. What kind of bargain had she just made? As she struggled to break free, flickers of the ballroom emerged around her, rich textures. Laughter, a heartbeat of life that felt both intoxicating and dangerous. But then she noticed it, the figure from the shadows, closer now than before, a devilish grin behind their mask. Panic surged within her as their eyes locked onto hers, a menacing glint dancing in the depth. This would be a dance unlike any other, and the first step into the unknown had come with an unbearable consequence. What had she unleashed? Would she be able to survive the dance of shadows, or would she become just another lost soul amidst the chaos? Light flickered like a dying ember, casting distorted shadows across the opulent ballroom, where Jessica now found herself ensnared. Her heart raced, pounding in her ears like a war drum. The laughter echoed, chilling her to the bone. Every face in the crowd was a blur, their features obscured by shadows, eyes gleaming with twisted delight. And no one was here to help her. The masked figure stood at the edge of the room, their grin widening as if feasting on her fear. The weight of her past pressed down harder than ever. Guilt and regret coiled around her heart, squeezing tightly. She had leapt into the vortex for liberation, yet now it felt like a cage. "Welcome to your reckoning," the voice sang from the darkness, thick with mockery. "You wanted power, didn't you? To rise from the ashes?" Their laughter echoed, a haunting melody. Each note struck a nerve, tightening the chains around her memories. Jessica felt that icy grip, the essence of her sorrow. It dragged her back, a relentless tide of betrayal and loss she had thought buried. She staggered, a solid image of her old self wavering in her mind, a girl hiding behind walls built from pain. "Stop!" she cried, desperation spilling from her lips. "This isn't what I wanted." But the shadows just laughed, a cacophony of voices mingling with sorrowful howls that rose from the depths of her being. They danced around her, weaving tales of failure and heartbreak. "Every leap has a price," the figure crooned, stepping closer. "You wanted change, Jessica. But understand this, true transformation requires sacrifice. A piece of your soul." A shudder coursed through her. How much of her past was she willing to shed? Was she truly ready to sacrifice the pieces of herself that still remained? The darkness offered an intoxicating allure, a promise of power wrapped in the chaos of shadows swirling like silk threads. With a surge of ambition, she fought back. "You don't control me," she shouted, feeling the thrum of energy beneath her skin. "I'm more than my past. I'll take my future into my own hands." As if responding to her defiance, the ballroom shifted. Colors splashed around her like paint thrown on canvas. The laughter faded, replaced by a strange music that filled her veins. She felt the pulse of life and intensity envelop her, the energy igniting a fire deep within more than just a flicker. It was now or never. With renewed purpose, she stepped forward, ignoring the binds of memory that tugged at her heart. She had to embrace the unknown, to dance with the shadows instead of fleeing. The music flourished, weaving through her thoughts, and she reached out not in fear but in boldness. The atmosphere crackled, charged with electricity, and somewhere in that madness, the figure watched, deathly amused. "Let us dance," she yelled, breaking into movement. The energy swirled around her, wrapping her in a cloak of vibrancy. Each step ignited sensations, reversing her chains. She twisted and turned, pushing the shadows back momentarily. Laughter mingled with her own, and the sound revived the darkness, but Jessica was not afraid. She was reclaiming her narrative. Then, without warning, the temperature dropped. The swirling colors began to fade, the brilliance replaced by a suffocating chill. The masked figure's laughter echoed louder, a reminder that joy could quickly turn to despair. With each graceful step, Jessica felt pieces of herself slipping away, slivers of joy, of hope, flaring like sparks before extinguishing. Her heart dropped. "What am I losing?" she shouted into the chaos. The figure leaned closer, their breath like frost on her skin. "Everything you thought you knew, and perhaps even more you didn't. See. The dance has just begun, Jessica. Will you be the master or the pawn?" The ballroom began to fall apart, reality crumbling like dry leaves. She strained against the encroaching shadows, her breath quickening, knowing that if she lost herself now, she may never return. But amidst the chaos, a glimmer of something shone just ahead, a door, a way out. Or perhaps, a new beginning? Could she seize it before the shadows consumed her entirely? The next step could seal her fate. Would she sprint toward the light or remain bound in the dance of shadows? The cold gripped Jessica, a relentless force dragging her toward despair. But rage ignited in her chest. The choice clouding her mind sparked clarity. She would not let the shadows win. The door shimmered brighter, a beacon amidst the turmoil. With a deep breath, she surged forward, pushing past the shadowy figures swirling around her. The cold nipped at her heels, threatening to pull her back, but she wouldn't stop. It wasn't just about escape, it was about reclaiming control over her life. "Keep dancing," the masked figure called, laughter curling like smoke. "You think you can run from your past?" Jessica felt the tension of those words settle in her core, but she was fueled by defiance. "My past is not my future," she shouted. Each word cracked the icy grip around her soul, like a hammer to glass. Driven by fierce determination, she lunged toward the glimmer. The door stood ajar, light spilling out, warm against her skin. It was a moment of clarity amidst chaos. The shadows howled behind her, a cacophony of despair and lost dreams. But she would not be just another story lost in the archives of pain. As she approached the door, the masked figure lunged, faster than she'd anticipated. "You will regret this," they hissed, voice slithering like venom. The air thickened with tension, reality warping around their presence. With instinct guiding her, Jessica flung herself through the doorway. The world around her transformed with the momentum, the oppressive darkness releasing its hold. She landed on soft grass, the stars above twinkling like forgotten wishes. Gasping for breath, Jessica rolled onto her back, heart racing in exhilaration. She had escaped. But, As the cool night air filled her lungs, dread flooded back. Did I truly escape? She thought, scanning the landscape. It was eerily quiet, devoid of life. The trees whispered a gentle reminder of the chaos she'd just fled. But there was something else aflicker in the distance. A figure stood there, cloaked in shadows, their face hidden. Jessica's heart raced again, but not from fear. Curiosity pulled her closer. What if this was another trick? As she approached, each step reverberated through the silence. The figure turned, revealing a delicate shimmering mask that caught the moonlight. You think you leave your past behind, but it follows like a shadow. Their voice was soft, contrasting the thrumming pounding of Jessica's heart. No more of this, Jessica replied, bristling with newfound strength. I choose my own path. The figure chuckled lightly, a sound both inviting and teasing. And what if your past has come to collect? A chill ran down her spine. What do you mean? Instead of answering, the figure raised a gloved hand, revealing a small object glinting ominously, a pendant, much like one she had once possessed. Her heart sank. The figure stepped closer, their shadows stretching toward her, cold as ice. This could change everything, but at a cost. The moment hung thick with tension. Behind her, the shadows from the ballroom were starting to seep through. She felt their presence creeping powerfully. Intertwined with her fate was the truth about what she had fled. What price could she be willing to pay? As the shadows lunged toward her, she realized the answer lay before her, waiting. Would she embrace the darkness or face it head-on? Jessica took a breath, summoning the strength she had just found. In that fleeting second, she felt an unyielding resolve. Tell me what you want, she demanded, as the shadows closed in, ready to claim her once more. The figure smiled, an enigmatic glimmer dancing in their eyes. The dance has only just begun. Could she withstand the storm? The shadows twisted like smoke, reaching out for Jessica as if drawn by an invisible thread. Her chest tightened, not from fear this time, but from the weight of the choice looming before her. The pendant the figure offered glinted like a devil's invitation, tempting, yet terrifying. What do you want? She repeated fiercely, gripping the earth beneath her, grounding herself against the encroaching darkness. The chance to rewrite your story, the figure said, their voice smooth as silk. But stories come with sacrifices, darling. Are you prepared to lose what is left of yourself? Jessica's pulse quickened. It felt like being on a precipice, peering into an abyss of the unknown. What did it mean to rewrite her story? What would she give up? Behind her, the shadows writhed and coiled, eager for a chance to ensnare her in their cold embrace. The laughter of the masked figure echoed in her memory, taunting her. Run as you will, but you are never truly free. Taking a step back, she fought against the fear that threatened to drown her. No! I've fought too hard to regain control. Her voice rang out, stronger than she felt. The figure tilted their head, a smile creeping across their lips as the shadows paused, intrigued. Maybe you have the fire to resist, but even the brightest flame can be extinguished. Their gloved hand gestured toward the pending darkness, beckoning it closer as if it were their own loyal pet. But you underestimate the human spirit, Jessica shot back, defiantly meeting the gaze behind the mask. Her heart thundered, defiance surging through her veins. I am more than my past. I am ready to fight. The figure leaned in, a breath away from her now, and the air crackled with tension. Very well, they whispered, as if unleashing a wicked spell. Let the game begin. With that, the shadows lunged with an urgency that sent a jolt through her. Jessica spun around, and in that instant, time felt suspended. It wasn't just shadows chasing her. It was her own regrets, fears, and insecurities closing in. The further she ran, the more she felt their icy breath on her skin, the whispers of her past fragmenting her resolve. You'll never escape. You'll never forget. They taunted. Each word cut deeper, unraveling the strength she had so desperately held onto. Yet just as despair threatened to take hold, the faint glow of the pendant lit up around her, casting a warm light against the oppressive darkness. She could almost hear her heart echoing the rhythm of a drum, calling her to rise again. "Focus!" she shouted to herself, pulling on the threads of courage buried deep within. Rising up, she spun to face the shadows, the light from the pendant forming a protective barrier. "You don't control me anymore." In response, the shadows hesitated, as if unsure about the light. It was her chance. With all her might, she dashed toward the flickering glow of the pendant. The figure's expression twisted with surprise, their mask revealing just a hint of vulnerability. "Stop!" they hissed, but Jessica was already moving. She couldn't back down. As her fingers brushed against the pendant, the world around her exploded with light, a blinding brilliance that pushed back the shadows, forcing them to withdraw. But even as she grasped the pendant tightly, a chilling realization washed over her. This might be only a temporary victory. The figure recoiled, their silhouette flickering under the incandescent glow. "This isn't over, Jessica. The shadows will always return." Jessica's breath came in ragged gasps as she looked up, heart pounding. "Then let them come," she declared, determination burning brighter than ever. "I'll be ready." But as the echoes of the figure's laughter faded into the night, she felt an unsettling shift in the air. Something was coming, something darker than the shadows she just sent away. Could this newfound light truly protect her, or would it attract an even greater darkness? Jessica took a step back, ready for whatever came next. The ground beneath her trembled, hinting at the chaos looming just out of sight. Would her battle against the shadows lead her deeper into the abyss, or guide her toward liberation? "Let us find out," she whispered under her breath, feeling the electric thrill of uncertainty. And in that moment, she understood every dance required: facing fears, learning, evolving. Would she have the heart to face what lay ahead? Jessica stood her ground, gripping the pendant tightly, as its warm glow seeped into her soul. The shadows swirled around the edges, whispering haunting tales of failure and regrets she thought she had buried. But they couldn't take her. She had faced their darkness and emerged alive. Or so she believed. With a determined heart, she took a bold step forward into the looming shadows. Perhaps they relished in her fear, but she vowed to own her past, to wield it as a weapon, not a chain. She felt the icy breath of memories chasing her, but instead of running, she faced them head-on. "You need to heed my strength," she yelled, empowered by the light emanating from the pendant and the subdued fire in her chest. In that moment, the shadows flickered, their whispers growing louder, but she pushed through, dancing with the darkness instead of surrendering to it. Each step she took was a testament to her resilience. She wasn't just moving away from pain, she was moving toward clarity, a future she designed herself. "Let us finish this," Jessica commanded, her voice echoing through the dimly lit expanse. The shadows recoiled, momentarily confused by her fierce declaration. She leapt, powered by adrenaline, as she arched towards the swirling chaos that had once felt so threatening. Each movement propelled her deeper into the heart of the shadows, as if inviting the storm to meet her head-on. The flickering glow of the pendant guided her through the tumult. She could sense the figure lingering just beyond her reach, waiting for her to falter. "You're strong, Jessica, but not strong enough," they hollered, their voice reverberating through the chaos. "No!" she snapped back, her spirit defiant and wild. "I'm strong enough to break these chains and light my own path." Her determination surged as the shadows lunged, but she redirected the energy, forcing the darkness to dissipate as it touched the glow of her pendant. The cacophony of murmurs faded, replaced by a singular, almost electric clarity. In this fleeting moment, she felt everything: the burdens she had carried, the choices that felt heavy like iron. "I'm not defined by them." As if responding to her newfound conviction, the shadows paused. It was now or never. I embrace my past, she shouted, channeling energy through the pendant and thrusting it into the air. The room exploded with light. The shadows twisted and melted away, pushed back by the power that radiated from her. With one final cry, she unleashed the full force of her spirit, and the room trembled under the weight of her conviction. The energy swept outwards, engulfing everything in radiant brilliance. The masked figures staggered, their bravado faltering. "No!" they shrieked, their grip on their power slipping away. But then, with a resounding crash, the center of the room collapsed, a vortex of energy spiraling beneath her feet. The energy cascaded, pulling everything down, but she did not resist. This was the moment of reckoning. The shadows consumed the figure, their laughter dissolving into a distant echo of chaos. Jessica steadied herself as she felt the ground shift beneath her, a wave of emotions washing over her. It wasn't just the shadows that had fallen, so had the burdens of her past. She was no longer weighed down by regret or fear, but lifted by the promise of a new dawn breaking ahead. As the brilliance dimmed into a soft twilight glow, she emerged from the darkness, stepping outside into a quiet world. The streetlights flickered, revealing the stars above, bright and full of possibility. She took a deep breath, the air crisp and cool. Jessica felt invincible, whole and unharmed. She had danced with shadows and walked through fire, and here, at the edge of a new beginning, she felt the power to reclaim her story, to craft her future without a single constraint. And just then, she caught sight of a familiar silhouette in the distance, a figure from the dance that had transformed everything. The billionaire stood there, no longer enigmatic, but simply human, a reflection of the journey she had taken. "Thank you for the invitation, Jessica," said softly, a smile breaking on her lips. They nodded knowingly, illuminating the lingering connection that bound them both in transformation. A dance of fate had led her here, no longer just a participant, but now the creator of her own path. As she stepped forward into the soft light of her future, she realized the shadows had taught her perhaps the most valuable lesson of all, that true freedom is found not in escaping the past, but in embracing it, using it to guide her forward. The night whispered promises of new adventures, challenges yet to come. But she was ready. She would dance through life, no longer defined by circumstances, but by choices, bold and unfettered. And so, with renewed fervor, Jessica raised her arms toward the stars, promising to seize every moment, every opportunity, to live a life not of shadows, but of glowing freedom. And just like that, she disappeared into the night, her spirit dancing like the twinkling stars above. If you love this incredible story of transformation, you need to subscribe immediately, so you don't miss the next exclusive tales on this channel. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and let everyone know how much you enjoyed it. Flood the comments section below with your heartfelt reactions and theories about Jessica's journey. What did you think of her transformation? Did she make the right choices? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this stunning conclusion. Only true fans understand the power of supporting the channel this way. Let us keep this amazing community thriving.